Good afternoon from Millbrae in Ayr, where we have a rather special ending to the Watsonians Super 6 series for 2021-22. It's a special East versus West match featuring the best players from the tournament. So this afternoon we present Glasgow against Edinburgh, live from Millbrae in Ayr. Good afternoon everyone, it's the Super 6 Pro-Alignment Fixture, which seeks to provide a closer alignment to the pro teams for those standout players who perform well across the course of the Sprint Series. This provides a further competitive opportunity for the players to play and reinforce the connections the clubs and the players have to their respective Scottish professional teams. Alongside me, Paul Mitchell, this afternoon is Dale Clancy. Dale, it's a beautiful day in Ayrshire. The squads have been brought together and it's certainly going to be an intriguing afternoon as Glasgow and Edinburgh go head to head.
Yeah, just watching the teams go through their build-up, and this is another step up from the Super 6 series. Obviously the Sprint was a fantastic tournament, but it just gives the players another platform to try and maintain that professional outlook, that application that they've got to the when they're playing their trade as rugby players. And both teams, the Edinburgh and Glasgow teams, both going through their paces here, just getting set up, and I think we'll be in for a cracking game.
Fergus Pringle will lead the Edinburgh side. It's Ben Cairns, the coach of Stirling County, who will lead Glasgow. But interestingly, we will see Pete Horn, the Ayrshire Bulls head coach, who's moving on to the Glasgow Warriors. He's going to be here this afternoon. So again, you will be impressing the guys at the next level above you. So it's a chance to catch the eye once more.
Yeah, I think within maybe the Glasgow ranks, it's perhaps a little bit of networking opportunity, because that's where Pete Horn is going to be obviously moving on to Glasgow Warriors as the skills coach. And I think the fact that he's here is it shows his application, his dedication to rugby as a career, the opportunities that it brings. And you could be watching one of the next Peter Horns coming out from this batch of players here, but it's great to see him. He's having a little conversation with Graham Shield on the pitch, and just that little chance to put yourself in the shop window and perhaps grasp a contract with one of the pro teams.
It is a different level. You are stepping up. It's the best of the best here this afternoon. One or two players are unavailable. The under-20 players aren't involved. They're finalising their preparations for the under-20 summer series. First game next Saturday. So some of those younger players aren't there, but one or two still are. And it's interesting because the other thing you've got to do, and when you go up a level, is adapt to playing with different players. And you're playing here with a blend of 3 or 4 different clubs coming together, and that makes it interesting.
Yeah, I think if you want to be a professional player, it's about consistency, it's about being able to deliver in all occasions, and this is another opportunity for players to be thrust into a different environment with different partnerships, different players, different coaches, different personalities, and they still need to deliver. So, on their journey towards hopefully being professional players or contributing at a semi-professional level, this is another test with a completely different dynamic to what we've seen in the Super 6 Sprint Series. This is a chance for them to continue their development and be consistent as rugby players, and as part of a team, no matter what team they're part of, to make sure that they pull their part.
We'll go through the full sides in a moment or two, but just the headline level would be, of course, from the Edinburgh point of view, Watsonians won the title. They were, close but deserved winners, and it's probably no surprise that 9 Watsonians are involved today. They'll form the spine of the Edinburgh team. Yeah,
I think it would be easy for me to sit here because I'm involved with the Super 6 Sprint Series and say it was a great tournament, but it truly has been. It has been phenomenal. The level of rugby, the competitive nature, they've all been nipped tuck. You think about the last game where Stirling County needed 5 points, Watsonians just needed 1. It's still right until the end. Could have went either way, and I think that's testament to Scottish rugby for allowing this platform. But it's I think it does reflect the way that the Super 6 season, the Sprint season has went. It's heavily represented by Watsonian, Stirling County and Bulls players, and I think that perhaps gives an indication as to how that tournament panned out.
And rugby is a sport that can be played in a number of ways, but what we've seen with the Super 6, and I think all the coaches have adopted that sort of attacking style. They don't just want to be defensive. It's not just about winning games. It's how you play, it's how you develop players, and I think we've seen that throughout the Super 6 series.
Yeah, definitely. I think we've seen that a big shift in the mentality of Scottish rugby over maybe the last decade. We were a very pragmatic nation, and perhaps based on scare of being maybe too defensive, but I think this does it gives the opportunity to throw the ball about, and I think especially in representative rugby there's going to be mistakes, there's different partnerships, but it'll open up, and that's where the attackers want to grasp their opportunity.
Well, the 2022 Watsonians Super 6 Championship returns this August with 33 matches. It all gets underway right here at Millbrae on Friday the 5th of August, with the Ayrshire Bulls take on Heriot's Rugby live on Free Sports. Plenty to look forward to. That will be in August when the Forsox Super 6 Championship Series gets back underway. Team news for this afternoon: Glasgow against Edinburgh. Glasgow comprising mainly of Stirling County, a couple of Buttermere Bears as guest players, Ayrshire Bulls as well in there, and it looks very, very strong. As you mentioned, a lot of Stirling County players in there. Let's have a look at Glasgow. Rory Swan in at 9, the Buttermere Bear. Marcus Holden, beg your pardon, really good standoff. He's had a good year. Watch out too for the centre partnership of Beattie and Gray, Tate and Cavan, and Logan Trotter's had a fine series. He's at 15. And one of the things you look at that, Dale, you look at a very strong Glasgow pack. Definitely.
I think Benedict Grant perhaps has been one of the players of the Sprint Series. He was very, very good at the base of the scrum for Stirling County, but also the likes of Lewis McNamara in there. He brings a big bulk in the back row, so certainly they've got a lot of good strike runners in the back line, but they've got a lot of brunt up front as well.
And for Edinburgh, Watsonians, Heriots, Buttermere Bears, Southern Knights, a couple of guest players from the Buttermere Bears in the Edinburgh team, and we're looking very tasty. 9 and 10, Brandon Baggett know each other very well, and you know they were key to Watsonians' success.
Yeah, a lot of good players in there, but I think that partnership has started to blossom for Watsonians. A big component of how they got over the line and won the Sprint Series, I think, is the partnership between Brandon Baggett and also Lee Miller, when you put that in there as well. But you know, it just gives them another opportunity to gel with different players round about them. And Coates are coming in at 12. He's seen a lot at fullback, so it's going to be interesting to see the switches in the back line.
Let's check the replacements for you. Glasgow have a full suite on the bench. Edinburgh not so. There's been a couple of late withdrawals from the Edinburgh team. We will be playing with rolling substitutions this afternoon. We will keep you up to date with that. So Glasgow and Edinburgh experience of Cammy Fenton on the bench, the hooker. And I like the look of Jack Fisher at 19 for Glasgow as well.
Yeah, and Stevie Hamilton as well on the bench for Glasgow. He's been involved in the Scotland 7 set-up. He's scored in the final game that almost seen Stirling County over the line. So he was kind of later to the party with all his representative stuff and you know, a niggly injury. So he'll be looking to try and really put a marker down. So I think Glasgow might benefit with more players on the bench than what Edinburgh do, but these players are well trained, well versed, and they're very, very fit. So it'll be interesting.
And Edinburgh with the McGinley brothers waiting on the bench to come on. So Forsox Super 6 Rugby, we're live from Millbrae. Glasgow against Edinburgh on a beautiful day for rugby. Glasgow have the home changing rooms, and if you're wondering why would it air, well, Ayrshire Bulls won the championship and therefore the right to host this match. The two teams will wear the professional colours. That's a nice moment for the players as well to get into the kits of Glasgow Warriors and Edinburgh Rugby, and that will be Edinburgh in orange, Glasgow in white this afternoon. Good crowd coming inside here as well. Something nice about summer rugby, the chance to get a light refreshment and watch hopefully a game where we're expecting the ball to be thrown about pretty much.
Yeah, I think there's an appetite littered throughout Scotland for representative rugby of some levels, and this gives a little glimpse as to what potentially could be as a mainstay. And it seems well backed here as well. There's people filtering into the stand. It's been a long season after COVID, but this is, you know, another chance to throw the ball about, have some fun, and build towards what's going to be a really interesting Super 6 campaign.
So Edinburgh have decided to go with the dark blue jerseys with the orange shorts rather than the pure orange jerseys, the burnt orange that Edinburgh have been wearing this season, and it will provide a nice contract for these. Edinburgh do take the field in that navy jersey, the orange shorts, the navy socks, and led out by Michael Linus, the captain from Heriots. And warm applause for this Edinburgh side as they take the field. Perfect conditions, and they'll be looking to Rory Brand and co to make things happen for them. They will be joined shortly by the home team. Here come Glasgow. Connor Gordon leads Glasgow onto the field, the Stirling County skipper. Nice contrast as these players come on. It's just little things, but I mentioned there the chance to wear the colours of the professional team just again sets the game apart slightly.
Yeah, just off camera, the captain there for Edinburgh, Michael Linus, just slapped hands with somebody from Southern Knights, and he bumped into somebody from Watsonians as well. Heriot is his club, and it's just good to see. You know, these players are certainly taking this seriously. He's obviously got immense pride for leading Edinburgh, so it's certainly going to be a competitive battle between these two sides.
So we'll get ready to get underway under the watchful eye and one of the country's top referees, Holly Davidson, has the whistle this afternoon. Underway, and that will be taken by Benedict Grant. Grant immediately runs into AP McWilliam.
Get round.
Glasgow drive forward. Played nicely back by Swan onto Holden. Coming into the line was Logan Trotter. Glasgow to get over the ball and move quickly. Good opening set from Glasgow. Holden. Out wide it comes. There's the little jinky run, and he's got good feet. Does Mike Gray. All the way to the halfway line. Getting things moving out onto this near side. Not a lot of space for the fullback. He's trying to get some help there. There's Cavan and Logan Trotter. Michael Scott drives his way forward. Back onto Rory Swan. Swan through the hands of Holden. Holden plays it through Breeze. That's a good opening from Glasgow. And Edinburgh have come in off their feet, and Glasgow let himself the penalty.
Yeah, and I think that's something that you mentioned in the pre-match build-up, is the fact that teams nowadays like to throw the ball about. They've got more an attacking sense as opposed to defending. In Glasgow, typically there you would see them get the ball in the 22 and try to clear their lines, but good attacking intent, trying to get the ball through the hands and work this Edinburgh defence, and it's worked out as a good territorial gain and a penalty in the halfway.
So Logan Trotter gets it away. 10 appearances for Stirling County this term, 4 tries. Really influential player from fullback. Really good championship and Super 6. And this is how the penalty was won.
On your front, guy, take a step for me. Small.
It's taken well by Rory Jackson. And there's the drive coming from Glasgow. And at the back, Jerry Blythe Lafferty. Near Bear. Couple of tries this time. Edinburgh sacked them all. The ball is available for Glasgow on that far side. I think they've managed to get it over. You can nicely see the referee, but the signal has been given, and Glasgow draw first blood. That's good play from Glasgow. Just wore Edinburgh down on that far side.
Good, Marcus,
and getting the score through.
Yeah, I don't know if Marcus Holden was the player that actually got the ball down through that maul as well, so he's found himself in a bit of unfamiliar territory, but he was the first player to pop up with the ball. But it's been a really bright start from Glasgow. They've kept the ball alive, they've kept it in the hand, and they've looked to try and stretch this defence, and good work there from Holden to try and get the ball over. And you can see Holly Davidson, the referee, was quick to look at her AR as well to see if she could get clarification if the ball was grounded in. Rightfully so, Marcus Holden gets the opening score.
Yeah, it was a grounding from our distance. I wasn't convinced he managed to get himself round. Got the referee in the right position.
It almost looked like when he was taking the ball into contact, he was just firm in to set it up, and fortunately for him, he's just been carried over the line and managed to ground the ball in.
And the conversion attempt is pulled wide. So Glasgow, it's how you almost draw it up. Good take out your 22, good advance to the halfway line, you win the penalty, you ping it in the corner, you take it down nicely through Rory Jackson, and there it comes. Edinburgh players back as well, Dale.
Yeah, it's just the option to be brave, I think, and play from your own half and have a bit of confidence, and it's benefited Glasgow in this opening 4 minutes, because Holden gets the opening score, and that's come from getting the ball in their 22 and looking to play rugby instead of clearing their lines.
Well, Edinburgh find themselves behind. They've not an attacking move as yet. Edinburgh, the ball has always been in the hands of this Glasgow side. It was knocked on. You could just see Rory Swan. You could tell from that angle just the way his body moved. You knew that he'd knocked it on. We couldn't see the ball, but we knew what he'd done, and so too did the referee. And it's a break for Edinburgh.
Yeah, I think so, because they've just kicked the ball straight back down the throat to Glasgow. It's obviously an area that they're trying to kick the ball to, look to put a bit of pressure onto Glasgow, and they've managed to do that, but it's now keeping the ball for a little bit of time. They've not had the ball for the last 4.5 minutes, so they'll have to get the ball in hand, try and go through the phases and really test this Glasgow defence from the scrum.
Ready to put in for Edinburgh's Rory Brand. Jason Baggett stands at 10.
Bind.
Just to the right of him.
Set.
And we don't have anybody on the blind side. Carl Main is 8. Here's Brand, the Watsonians players. Inside nicely, cuts it. Oh, Watsonian. Brand again, pulls it back onto Baggett. Baggett with a dummy. That's a great pass out wide. Cross. Tries to get the ball back inside. Just couldn't link up with Joe Jenkins. And it's forced out of play by Glasgow. That's the kind of running rugby we were expecting.
Yeah, and we've seen a lot of that with the 10 taking the ball to the line, the defence rushing up, and the 10 having to delay the pass. Lee Miller did it for Watsonians against, I think, Stirling County the other week there. And you can see Baggett just delaying that pass, floating it over the top and trying to get Aidan Cross into a bit of space. But the defence was across quickly, and the offload not going to hand for Joe Jenkins and being bundled into touch. And Glasgow now got a defensive line out deep inside their own 22, but Edinburgh, like Glasgow, shown a bit of intent. So
these two teams coming together. We'll go with the scrum down. So the packs Edinburgh have Harrison Courtney, Michael Linus and EP McWilliam. So two Watsonians props with a Harriet Hooker in between. The Glasgow front row features all 3 clubs. Stirling County's George Breeze, Jerry Blythe Lafferty. The Ballymere Bears, one of the emerging talents at this level, and Michael Scott in at 3. Glasgow went early, and they thought they'd got the free kick, but it's actually Edinburgh's call from Holly Davidson.
Scrum called. I agree.
Full call here to go for the scrum. I think the scrums earlier on that was seen from the first phase move where Aidan Cross did not pass the ball on to Joe Jenkins, who knocked on. They looked like the scrums were a bit eachy peachy, so I think Edinburgh are looking to try and keep that pack tight, and look to try and test and stretch this Glasgow back line. So this will be an interesting scrum, and it's a big scrum as well, because it's a really, really good attacking opportunity here for Edinburgh.
Okay, when you call for it, you've got to win it, and you've got to win it well. And so it's a big moment for Glasgow as well to try and get the shovel.
Set.
Glasgow leading by 5 points to 0. Try by Marcus Holden. Main at the base of the scrum. Brand is there. 10 flicks it in. Again, it'll be back for Brand if he wants it, but it's going to be picked up and driven in by Wallace Nelson. That's clever from the number 7, spotted the gap, picked up and went, and Edinburgh have tied things up. Wallace Nelson with a try.
Yeah, it's exactly what you said. You had to win your set piece there. You've got the advantage from the call for the referee. They've taken the scrum. It's been a solid scrum, and it was well taken off the back. Brand just trying to bring Aidan Cross in off his wing, and he set up a really good platform, and I have been really impressed with Aidan Cross for Southern Knights and what's been a disappointing campaign for them. He's been one of the shining lights, but you can just see there Nelson, he was alert to it, he spots the gap, he was just hovering over the ball, and you can see there's no defence there, just plucks it up and goes over the line.
Yeah, I think it was Adam Sinclair who was trying to get back in time, saw that there was a gap but couldn't manage to do so. A little bit breezy but decent kicking conditions here at Millbrae. Gets the kick away, and Edinburgh take the lead, having conceded the first points of this game, and they lead by 7 points to 5. 2 tries in the opening 9.
The crowd that's here, because this is what representative rugby is all about, throwing the ball about, trying to have some fun but also be competitive, and it's been an excellent start from both sides, certainly contributing to a great atmosphere.
Marcus Holden, the opening try scorer, gets that away. Very well dealt with indeed by Joe Jenkins.
Carry back, carry back.
Trotter gets it on the right boot.
Hold boy. Onside now.
Jenkins calls for it, gets it. Cuts it. Coates goes for the dummy, he's almost through, gets the ball back. Here's rampaging through Fraser Hastie. Hastie on the inside, falls to Jenkins. And the referee thinks she's going to wait and see where that goes. Tried to play the advantage to Glasgow for the knock-on, but again, good swift rugby.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you want to see from a fullback. You want to see when the ball's been returned back, him calling, him seeing the space, and there was loads of space on the stand side here. He was calling for it. The Edinburgh players worked really hard to get back as well to create that overlap, and Coates are taking the gap here, just throwing that dummy in and just going on the inside and creating that little dogleg in defence. And just unfortunately for Edinburgh there, just the ball not going to hand. It was eventually Fraser Hastie who tried to pop the offload in, but the congested areas the Glasgow players were filtering back just stopped that counter attack. But you know, both teams again showing attacking intent.
Bind.
So Rory Swan, the Bunnemere Bear gets ready to pop the ball in. 24-year-old.
Use it.
Man trying to put in some pressure, but will be taken from the back, and that is a good takedown. That was Wallace Nelson and well on Benedict Grant.
One side, boys.
Breeze.
Yeah, and away, Blue.
Breeze and Scott, the two big props, will carry a lot. Scott through the hands of Marcus Holden. And that's been turned over by Edinburgh. Quickly get their pack there. Coates spotted the little gap. Now the ball comes through. It was ripped out. There'll be no advantage for the knock-ons. They will come back for the scrum down. That's good spoiling after the initial error by Glasgow. Yeah,
good scrambled defence, but that Coates, he loves a dummy. It's I think it's the dummy of the first half, and he certainly looks lively at inside centre. We've seen him a lot playing at more of fullback for Watsonians, but he certainly looks like they've got another ball player, another playmaker at inside centre there, and the young lad there, because he certainly looks very abrasive when he's got the ball in hand, and he can change direction very quickly, so it'll be challenging for this Glasgow defence to try and keep tabs on him.
Yeah, he'd throw a dummy in a telephone box, that boy. He just loves the little touch.
The telephone box is still a thing?
Crouch.
There's only, I think, 2 in Edinburgh. But I'm sure he knows where they are.
Bind. Set.
Played by Brand, he's struggling to get that out. Brand back at it first receiver. Godsmark. Jenkins was in the line. He's going to take some taking down. He is down, he got some help. Brand swings it back. That's through the hands of Hastie. It's gone backwards. Baggett might try a little clip kick over. See where the runners are. It's going to be taken well by Aaron Tate, although he's in a little bit of trouble. Thrown to the ground.
Take a step.
Not the biggest Aaron Tate, but does really well in his body position to hold on to that ball.
Not
forward.
out, still on.
Well by Ronnie Jackson. That's a good strong exit play from Glasgow, just under a little bit of pressure.
Thanks,
and Baggett's kick was worth throwing.
Yeah, I think that he kind of ran up a channel. There was no options outside, and he just put it on the left boot and tried to make it a foot race after that. But I think Aaron Tate dealt with it really well. I've been impressed with him as well for the Ayrshire Bulls. He knows his way to the try line, and you know, he is a little bit smaller in stature compared to some modern day rugby players, but it works for the likes of Shane Williams, it works for Darcy Graham, so Aaron Tate certainly is of that mould. He knows his way to the try line anyway, so he'll be wanting to try and get on the score sheet this afternoon.
Michael Lyons, the Edinburgh skippers, won that ball in well. Here comes Coates again, looked a little bit high although the tackle was withdrawn. Carol Main goes in to help. Brand plays it through Linus. Little ball back onto Brand, a pull back onto Baggett. It's Jenkins outside onto Billy Wana. Wana taken down well by Trotter. Brand inside again. Linus drops the shoulder, runs into Rory Jackson. Out wide once more. That's dropped by Hastie. The ball appeared to go backwards. The referee doesn't concur. From her position, Holly Davidson saw that go forwards. And that will come to an end. Michael Linus just be let go eventually.
9.
By
If
Michael
I stand out the line out, am I in your way at all?
Not there, that's fine.
Defensively, really solid from Glasgow. Edinburgh looked like they were going to try and get the ball wide, and this floated pass across from Baggett just under pressure. Just trying to see, I thought it was Connor Gordon who was the player that was up and putting a bit of pressure on defence, but that's, you know, that was the only real option there for Baggett. Similar to the one that he chipped over beforehand, the defensive line rushing up in midfield to try and cut out those tight balls and those abrasive lines back towards to try and hold the defence. So it was a good defensive pressure from Glasgow, but for the last 10 minutes or so we've been Glasgow been camped in their own area, not enjoyed a lot of possession.
Bind.
Nice one. Gets ready to feed the ball into the scrum. The scrums come together. Gets it in quickly. There's a Benedict Grant at the back. Picks it up through the hands of the scrum half. Manages to get the ball across. Trotter on the line. Still going. Logan Trotter. Swan. It's a little bit high, which are taken by Jackson and then dropped. Comes back on the Glasgow side, but it's a knock on it. We are going to see quite a few knock-ons. It's just the nature of it. You're playing with unfamiliar players. You are trying to throw the ball about. Just sometimes doesn't bounce your way.
Yeah, but I just think Glasgow at the moment just look a little bit flat when you can see the players here just waiting. You know,
Marcus,
they don't look too dynamic when they've got when they're waiting on the ball. Now they're going, and they just look like they're maybe a little bit disjointed. That little bit of communication where at the moment you see Edinburgh, they're hitting the ball at pace. They're actually being very accurate most of the time when they're tipping the ball on. And I think that's perhaps been a little difference in why Glasgow are camped down here. It's these little errors, the knock-ons. You know, that little knock-on there as well. These are the things that are, you know, playing into Edinburgh's hands and keeping Glasgow pinned inside their own half.
Crouch. Bind.
2 tries in the first 8 minutes. No scoring since.
Yeah, free engaged.
The referee doesn't like the way the packs have come together.
Free engaged.
Ronnie Davidson.
We spoke before about finding your
Just a
space.
word there.
I see you
Seems
coming
to aim
across
more
the
at
moment. You need to go
Edinburgh
right into yours.
than Glasgow.
Great. And we come then, inset.
Let's go. Let's go.
Good crowd inside. This famous old rugby crowd at Millbrae. Pretty place to come and watch some rugby.
Crouch. Bind. Set. Up.
Well, if you did
Okay,
wonder
what's the
if
issue at the moment?
the packs might be a little bit unfamiliar, this is
Okay,
part
so
of the problem until you get to know, and the referee obviously
the hookers,
not
you need to
happy at
set
the
the gap.
engagement.
And
Yeah,
then both
I think
packs
some
hold their own
partnerships
weight.
are easier to work
Yep.
than others. I think, you know, if you've got centres, you can either you can judge their run or you can't. Sometimes they blend or sometimes they don't. But I think the front rows especially, it's such a safety critical area of the game that it needs to be well managed. I think Ollie's doing a great job of managing this so far, but we have seen a couple of free kicks come from scrum, so obviously it's an area that needs to gel and gel pretty quickly.
Bind. Set.
This is the second reset. We're keen to get this ball in and away. Mean will pick up from the base. Brand is going to switch it, but that might be red. Holden saw the play, just couldn't hold on to it though. Now it comes out long. Billy Warrett, little juggle, and Elias Cavan takes him into touch. The referee will bring it back. I think she's asking
So 2 knock-ons.
which
First by
offence
White,
do you want?
and then a forward pass.
This was great anticipation.
Yeah, and I think off camera when the ball got loose, you should see Marcus Holden smile. He knew that was coming a mile off, and I think if he'd caught that, I think he's a man that's got a bit of pace about him. He could have strided in for a score, but he knew as soon as that ball went that side, he just burst out the line. He caught my eye because he's the other side of the scrum. You could just see him hairing up, so he read it really, really well. And obviously Brand would be blindsided by that as well, because the congestion in the pack kind of stopped the visual line to Holden. So he had no option but to throw the pass there, but it was well read, and that could have came off there for Marcus Holden.
Bind.
I have to say, it was probably 60-40 he would score as well. Just getting that pace, he would have burst through onto the halfway line. And of course Edinburgh would have had to spin round and chase him. As it was, they get the scrum. Here's Brand. On to Jenkins. Bar is available. Cavan tries to take his man into touch. It was good play too on Mike Gray. Brand melted by Gray. Jenkins will play scrum half. Picked up by Manika. It's going to go for a little clip kick through. And Rory Brand
outside the 22.
pops that ball into touch. He was just trying to knock it against the Glasgow player.
No.
Line out's been taken quickly. Now this is adventurous. Holden gets it. Now he's going to run out here. Being dragged out as Bobby Beattie playing on home turf.
Okay, advantage, knock on.
Ball has been knocked on. Advantage will go Edinburgh's way. Edinburgh have got AP McWilliam down at the moment. Spin by Baggett. Jeffrey was in quickly, and that's why Edinburgh have had to hold on and concede the penalty. You can see Benedict Grant doing a little bit of clearing out. Carl Main, two number 8s. Well, they're still going. There's a little bit of separation required.
I don't condone violence, but that would be a good fight between them two. I think when you looked at the two number 8s, they've had a really good sprint series campaign. But you know, when you look at it on paper, when you've seen Main versus Grant, I was thinking this is going to be a bit of a ding-dong affair between the two, and certainly they've introduced themselves now to each other.
Yeah, there's certain contests as a player you would step in and stop. That's when you'd go, okay, boys.
Yeah, and crack on. It's you know, it's good to see, and you get a lot of that in rugby. You get a lot of the, you know, it boils over. There's no punches thrown. You know, it's just a bit of grabbing. It's a little bit of bravado, and they're both big number 8s. They want the ball in hand. They want to be charging at each other, and I think when they get the rugby opportunity to try and get the upper hand, both players will certainly be up for it.
Okay, drop on.
Edinburgh making the first change so far. It's AP McWilliam who's had to go off, and Martin McGinley will come on for him. So the man from Watsonians has to leave the field of play just down below us.
Here. Holding. Yeah. Yeah, wait a second. Oh yeah, time off, Logan. We've got blood.
Logan Trotter has ball in hand. What a good season he's had, Logan Trotter. 23-year-old can play on the wing, can play at full back, and he's such a dangerous runner.
Yeah, I think I feel like I'm constantly saying what a good season they've had, and you know, I've been really impressed with them because of the level of quality in the Super 6. But he has been one player certainly at Stirling County that stood out. His balance, his running, his contribution with the boot as well, as we'll see. He can obviously try and kick to touch. You know, he's one of those players that really shines a light. The Super 6 shines a light on players like him, and he's made touch there, and he's a dangerous player in broken field.
The line's going to be yours, boys.
Cross was the player trying to flail at the ball to keep it in, couldn't do, so it's a good kick from Logan Trotter. Midway through the first half, Glasgow and Edinburgh, the Super 6 Pro-Alignment Fixture. Glasgow take well, Holden onto the inside, there's the runner of Grant. BT provided the cover, Holden gets it out wide onto Gray. Wara escorts him into touch. That's good tackling by Edinburgh's 14.
Yeah, very good, because he managed to kind of wrap up the arm that he was trying to get the offload from the ball. And you know, I think Mike Gray's a player that I would like to see a little bit more of. I think he looks really dangerous in those outside channels, but they're maybe asking him to do a little bit too much here. There's not a lot of space there when they fly the ball out, and he's got a choice. He's got two players outside him within 5 metres, which is pretty tight, and he's going at the angle, so he's really not got a lot of options as apart from trying to straighten up and secure that ball. But Billy Wara doing a good job of escorting him out, as you said.
Linus takes it in, taken well by Hasty. That's a well worked Heriots combination. You can see number 6 for Glasgow, Lewis McNamara, trying to swim his way through.
Sideways once, now forward.
To scrag anything that's moving in there. Edinburgh will break slightly to the side. It's legal, says the referee, and this is tough now for Glasgow. But they have responded well. And here's Carl Main taken down well. Referee indicates a penalty again. Edinburgh getting players in, but not quickly enough, Dale. Having to hold on.
No, Lewis McNamara was over the ball really well. I felt that when that maul started going and it got that little bit head of steam, they almost got a bit too keen and thought, let's keep cracking on, where they needed to be a little bit more cool and secure that ball, because when it splintered, the Edinburgh players were probably the wrong side of that set piece, and they broke away, isolated themselves. And Lewis McNamara, he's incredible over the ball. He's a big guy, but he's got a great centre of balance, and just held that ball in and managed to win the penalty.
So the kick to the corner is executed. Well, Rory Jackson and Adam Sinclair, Ayrshire Bulls and Stirling County respectively, were the targets. But Glasgow have made a mess of that.
Okay, so it's ripped backwards by blue.
I think they might get another shot
so
here. I would perhaps have thought, because it was ripped out. They tried to not lift
Ripped by blue.
and just hit the man on the ground, but it was well ripped and well defended at the front from Edinburgh, but it's bundled into touch, and I think
Great,
Glasgow
Johnny.
get another shot at trying to set something up here.
George Breeze will give the call. Jerry Blythe Lafferty on the throw. Free here, Adam Sinclair wears 5. And behind him, Rory Jackson, the headband wears 4.
Maul.
He'll come in nearer the front, and now they set up well. Blythe Lafferty at 2 is being held in. Edinburgh pulling him up. Not sure he'll be able to get the ball out. He's still continuing in there. And it's one of these ones, good luck to the referee trying to follow the ball.
Held up. Goal line.
And it is going to be a goal line dropout.
Very good defensive work
Yeah,
there
goal line dropout.
in the maul, and I think it was Josh King who's managed to get himself in a great position, because I thought when that maul was set it had such good go forward, and you've seen Bobby Beattie running as well, add a little bit of weight, but then it just started to turn, and I think it brought the Edinburgh players back into a better defensive position, which allowed King to get underneath the ball and hold it up when the ball eventually got its way over the line. So almost from Glasgow, it was very well worked, but it just unfortunately for them, they just went back to a better, they gave themselves a position that probably was more advantageous for Edinburgh.
Yeah.
Carl Main getting some treatment as Edinburgh get ready to clear their lines. Yeah, it's usually been the tactic from theirs to try and clear it as far as you can. Holden trotted in the line. Actually thought Grant was in advance of him there. He tried to help. Ball inside from Tate. Again, a good defence as Sinclair tries to push it forward. There's the ball breaking out again for Jenkins, the fullback. That was forwards. That was right in line with the commentary team here. And Holly Davidson too in good position to see the pass forward.
Yeah, Glasgow again just guilty of not securing and protecting that ball enough, knocking the ball on, which gave Edinburgh that opportunity. And I think if that ball goes to hand, that's really, really dangerous. You can see here when the ball spills out of the tackle there is space on this side, but it just drifts forward, and Aidan Cross was looking to pin the lugs back and try and go in the corner, but it just drifted forward, and the referee was in a great position to see the forward pass there between Jenkins and Cross. And the opportunity for Edinburgh, they can't capitalise on this occasion, but Glasgow guilty of making a few mistakes and allowing Edinburgh into the game.
Crouch. Bind. Set.
You're just joining us here. You're watching Glasgow against Edinburgh in the Super 6 Pro-Alignment Fixture.
Just hold that weight.
Millbrae, the home of Rugby Football Club and the Ayrshire Bulls. The scrum will have to come together.
He cannot step back.
2 tries in the opening 8 minutes. The scoreboard untroubled since then. Edinburgh converting their try scored by Wallace Nelson. And the first score of the afternoon coming from Marcus Holden. Marcus Holden, winner of the ugliest drop goal to win a game competition in the sprint series, as he guided Stirling County past the Ayrshire Bulls.
Set.
Doesn't matter how it goes through.
No, I was nervous when you started that that award there, but it was an excellent finish to that game as well. But yeah, I don't think he'll be too mindful of how that went over, because it split the Kinlan and they got the 3 point. But he'll be hoping to try and get into this game a little bit more, because he's been starved of possession so far.
And the ball here from Swan, who's having a little bit of trouble digging it out. Pulls it back. Comes to Aaron Tate. Tate trying to release on that far side. There's the prop. It's George Breeze. Breeze getting up some steam. Eventually forced out. Who doesn't love a big prop forward rumbling down the line?
Yeah, I think somebody's told him he had number 11 on his back. It's a bit of imposter syndrome there from the prop, but it's great to see. And I think that's the difference now. We've got, rugby players, they're athletes, and you can see he gets the ball in hand and he knows what he needs to do here. Gets the big fend in there. But a great defensive work in the end from, I think that was Cross, who got over to make that tackle, because that's a difficult task to try and stop a prop who's got full head of steam, good pace and good defence.
Yet to score at Super 6 level. He would have loved that here in this Pro-Alignment fixture. He's just getting checked out by one of the medical staff. She's probably saying, was that you running down the line?
Yeah, I think he'll be looking for ID. He's saying, are you definitely Breeze? I think that is one of the brilliant things about rugby, and especially the Super 6 level. Like, we've seen second rows, and we've seen a break earlier on in the first half where the second row just burst through. It was Fraser Hastie showing good pace. It doesn't matter what position we've not just got quick wingers and strong props. Everybody can play a bit of everything now, and it's that was an example if ever you've seen one.
Nicely taken in by Hastie. Here's Carl Main being dragged down by Connor Gordon.
Back you go.
Glasgow try the counter. It's definitely back on the Edinburgh side. And it's launched beautifully. And Aaron Tate actually hits our cameraman on the far side, and then hits the camera as well. They do a great job, our camera crew. Wouldn't be kicking balls at them, to be fair.
Take a step for me, boys. Thank you.
Although, to be fair, I was disappointed he didn't hold it.
Yeah, I know. I thought, they're very skillful, our cameramen as well. But I thought he might have got under the high ball and secured that, but not to be.
Edinburgh disrupt the line. Josh King coming through. Scott drops the shoulder. Breeze in behind. Again, the ball will come back on the Glasgow side. Swan inside. That's picked up well by Rory Jackson. Nice. Cavan moves in from the inside, but they'll play it out on that far side. Lovely through the hands. Good work by Beattie once more. Glasgow will try and get this back out. It's a diving take.
Yep, ball's out.
Again, Edinburgh very, very quickly. That's excellent play. It's what you look for.
Ball's out. Never
The referee decided to come just a little bit too quick. Here's Holden taking it. Grant on the offload onto Gray. Glasgow on the front foot here. That's high, but it's taken well by Sinclair. That's a second row try in the clock. He's taken in the air. That will be a penalty. Adam Sinclair looking for one of the plays of the match so far, with a lovely little clip kick, although Joe Jenkins didn't appreciate being bundled in the air as he called for the mark.
Well, I'll tell you what, it was accurate. He got it, and I think that's again comes back to my point about everybody can do a bit of everything now. And Big Sinclair, he put in a brilliant contestable crossfield kick. Now, I think off the camera though, I think the work of Cavan, you mentioned he burst out the line. You can see that he's about 2 or 3. He's like a snooker player. He's a couple of shots ahead of what's going to happen, and he bursts himself into position. And as soon as that move breaks down, he gets back to maybe a default position for the crossfield kick. And he's always alert, and he's always in the game, which I think is really good to see for a winger. But he would have been hoping to be underneath that crossfield kick from Sinclair, but not to be. And Edinburgh can clear their lines.
Let's go, boys.
The ball gently stroked off the roof of the stand here. If we wondered, Dale, about the level of effort these players have been through, a long Super Sprint series on the back of the Championship series, but there is not a player there giving any inch to his opposing number at the moment.
No, just an error there from the line out from Jerry Blythe-Lafferty, who's just thrown that in just on the wrong side of the shoulder. But you're totally right. I think it's been a long season from when we first started to see rugby come back after COVID after the last wave of COVID, and it has been a long kind of journey to get to this point. The sprint series was very competitive, really, really physical, and these players are back out a couple of weekends later and looking to try and continue that journey and continue the rugby at the highest level. And nobody's given an inch here. They're certainly all playing towards the cause. There's a few errors, but that's going to happen in rep rugby, and but they're all giving their all.
Bind.
Edinburgh's 9, Rory Brandt. Carmain. Brandt inside. Coates there. There's the Watsonians effect as well. Jason Baggett spotted a gap. Oh, that was punched forward by Willie Warwick. Taken by Trotter on that far side. Connor Gordon putting his weight about there. Edinburgh have turned it over, but they will come back for the forward pass, or the knock forward. It wasn't a pass by Billy Warwick.
And I think that's perhaps a little bit of the difference between likes of Cavan and Wara. Cavan he's a live wire. He's always energetic, looking to get into the game. Where I feel Wara sometimes he looks for the game to come to him sometimes. But when he gets the ball, he's really, really dangerous. And you can see there he's got the right ideas. He's a brilliant rugby player. But just not coming off on that occasion, trying to get the ball flicked quickly over. Just drifting forward, and it almost allowed an opportunity for Glasgow. So you can see how the bounce of the ball can end up benefiting either team.
Crouch. Bind. Set.
Swan just waiting for the scrum to get settled, feeds the ball in. Gets caught slightly,
Nice
Grant
outside.
allows the ball to come out. And here's the opportunity for Bobby Beattie. Through Gray, Trotter up in the line. Cavan says play that in behind. And the kick
Touch.
just a little bit too close to the line on that occasion. You could see again good communication between winger and fullback, saying what was required. Just Logan Trotter couldn't push it through.
Yeah, just too acute that angle
Boys,
when,
just on the tee.
when Trotter eventually did get the ball. The option was there, and just maybe just run out of room. He got a little bit
Yeah,
too
so
tight to the touchline and couldn't curve that ball enough. At his abrasive angled
boys,
run,
just
he
up to
just
the tee.
couldn't kick it straight enough to allow Cavan, because Cavan had the march on his winger. He had him turned, and if it had bounced kindly, it was an opportunity for Glasgow, but just the execution from the kick not able to be pulled off from Trotter.
There's a mistake that comes through to Scott. Scott gets it off to Blythe Lafferty. Main trying to wrap up. That's been dropped, and Jason Baggett has it. And Baggett's got a fair amount of pace. He's being pursued by Rory Jackson, trying to look on the inside. Rides the tackle, but he has been stepped out by Elias Cavan. And Glasgow think about taking it quickly, but it's from the wrong point, and it is a little bit of a mess. So referee Holly Davidson will bring
keep
things
that
back
space,
to a
okay?
halt.
Thanks, Bob.
Good work in the maul from Baggett. He's got his arm wrapped in, rips the ball out, and he's the first to pounce on it as well. But just again, the counter-attack in Rugby there, the scrambled defence was effective from Glasgow, managed to cut down the space, and Cavan again, really
drop,
industrious in
two.
defence, getting across and just putting that foot into touch.
Goes to Sinclair. Sinclair wins it, gets it off to Rand through to Baggett. It's picked up well by Grant. Glasgow coming forward, trying to re-establish themselves in this game. Holden with a little jink in the run through. I think he's slightly isolated.
Advantage.
Glasgow do well to get that back.
Five.
Out wide it comes, it's Gray that throws a little dummy. Advantage coming for Glasgow. And they will come back for the penalty. Just not moving away.
In such a short space of time, it's difficult to try and drill and re-coach players into a dynamic, a way that matches your philosophy, and I think Fergus Pringle's done a great job of organising this Edinburgh team defensively. They've obviously only had a bit of time to work on different things. It's like when the national team comes together at Six Nations, all the clubs, the players from the clubs come together. It's similar. They've had a short turnaround and they've been working on stuff, and you can see defensively they're pretty astute, they're pretty well organised, they're ripping out the tackle, and I think defensively Edinburgh look pretty strong.
Just
Good
off the
kick
5.
by Logan Trotter. Appreciated by the Glasgow replacements across our right hand side. And Jerry Blythe Lafferty will be on the throw.
Small.
It's well taken in by McNamara. Despite two big lock forwards, McNamara is a good target to have in the line out. And over they go. Well, Glasgow come through again, and Blythe Lafferty splintering off the back and gets the pat on the back of the head. It's excellent play from Glasgow, and they regain the lead.
Yeah, they tried it earlier on in the fixture in the first half. They tried to work that maul. It looked really effective and it looks well drilled. That time it paid off. They were direct with the drive. They managed to get them down quick and set them all quicker than what Edinburgh could get their defensive maul set up and drive it straight towards the line. There was no twisting, there was no turning, and there was no players defensively for Edinburgh that could get themselves in a position where they could get under the ball and almost knocking the ball out of the hands of Blythe Lafferty, but the young hooker gets the ball over the line in Glasgow, who have enjoyed a bit of possession over the last 5-10 minutes. They've started to grow back into the game and limit the error count. They've snuck ahead.
So Marcus Holden, right footed kicker. Gets the kick away, but it was sweeping across the posts, and it remains Glasgow 10, Edinburgh 7, 3 minutes to play. This was textbook stuff.
3:30, yeah.
You win the ball, you take it down, you smuggle it to the back. You can see the hard work of the pack there.
Yeah, and you can see where they got the advantage as well, because Edinburgh haven't committed all their forwards to that maul because they're nervous about the fringes, and that's how they defended it so well last time. And this time they've just been outmanned. They've been outnumbered there, and Benedict Grant from the kick-off just ploughing himself straight into the Edinburgh defence.
Counter ruck is good.
Edinburgh see the ball, they think it's available, the counter ruck, and it's been knocked on by Glasgow. That kind of undoes the good work that Benedict Grant did.
Yeah, and it's a funny. I always find it funny in rugby when something doesn't work the first time, teams still go back to it. But it seems to have, gone against the grain in this game, because Glasgow, they got their opening score from fielding the kickoff from that position, playing out from their own half. But in this occasion, well, the one following that as well, Edinburgh have been able to put pressure onto Glasgow and make them penalise or get an error, and both times there's been a scrum. So it's going to be interesting here if Edinburgh can capitalise, because when Glasgow got their first try, straight away Edinburgh got theirs.
Crouch!
Ronnie Brand doing what all good scrum halves should do, just survey the whole field, see where you're set up and see where your opponents are. The scrum is steady.
Yes, use it!
Ball is with Main. On to Brand. Brand with a hitch kick. Makes Grant miss. Goes through. Still going. Needs to feed the ball back and has done so. Van Niekerk will be the man. Gets the ball across onto Fraser Hastie. Brand back in at scrum half. Van Niekerk again. Driving his way forward. Brand will bring it back to the right hand side. It's Baggett. Baggett, here's Godsmark. Godsmark spots the angle, tries to go for the line. Cavan tried to rip the ball from him. Brand back again. It's a tough one for Main to take at his toes. Took it well. Brand again. Van Niekerk. Nelson tries to support him as Connor Gordon drove him back. Now it comes out wide. Baggett taken down by Holden. That's good play. And jumping himself over the top. Back on to Hastie. Hastie's progress. That's another good tackle from Michael Scott. Here's Baggett. Opportunities inside and out. Takes the scenic route.
Thanks, John.
Back inside. Here's Carl Main. Some of the tackling here is terrific.
Vantage.
Waiting for it. It's Harrison Courtney. Courtney takes it. Immediately met by a plethora of white jerseys. Breaks through again. McGinley. Goes it. Gets away from Grant. It's big against little, and sometimes little wins. It's nicely up again. Van Niekerk. Big defensive set here for Glasgow. It comes back again. Brand wasn't sure where it was. He might try the little kick across. Be taken by Warner. What a score from Edinburgh. Rory Brand realised the pass wasn't on and decided to pop up the kick to see if Billy Warner could come down with it. Yeah. He did, and Edinburgh regained the lead.
Well, I did say earlier on, Billy Warner waits till the game comes to him, and he did exactly that. Again, he's hugged his touchline and he's waited and stretched that defence, and he's really... There's two things that have made Brand do this. The defensive pressure from Glasgow and the width that Wara gives them. He's got the hand up, you can see him screaming for that ball, and it's a great take from the winger to dive over in the corner for a score. And the status quo, it's reinstated, because last time Glasgow scored, Edinburgh went straight up the other end and got a dot themselves, and it's happened yet again.
So 2 tries apiece, the conversions have made the difference. Edinburgh haven't bothered retreating back to the halfway line because they know that the whistle will go. This is the last action of an enjoyable first half here at Millbrae. And Jason Baggett looking to give Edinburgh a 4-point cushion at the break. Baggett waits. Looks decent from this angle. It is perfect. As the half-time whistle goes. Jason Baggett with the last word on the first half. Been a good game of rugby.
It's been a cracking game of rugby. I think it's taken a bit of time to settle because of the mistakes that have maybe were, it kind of plagued the middle section of that game, but it did make it interesting within its own right. And I think 14 points to 10, that is a very, very fair reflection on the way that the games went. I feel Edinburgh have been a little bit more polished than Glasgow, and I think that 4-point advantage probably reflects that.
So the half-time scoreline was Glasgow 10, Edinburgh 14, and we had 4 tries in the first half. If you missed any of them, we'll walk you through them once more. 2 tries in the opening 8 minutes. It was Glasgow who were first to go. And it was a good take. And Glasgow got themselves in. This was to break down Dale. We wondered if Marcus Holden, who was the first player in there, was over the line, but in the end Holly Davidson was in good position to see how this one ended up.
Yeah, and it's been an area that Glasgow have benefited from. They look like they've got a secure maul, and you can see Holden just coming into picture, looking to try and manipulate that blind side, because all the defensive players, you can see Edinburgh, they're all staring at that breakdown, and they're all now filtering to the open side, which leaves Holden a bit of space over here. When he gets the ball, he's looking to try and truck it up, and as we say, it looked like he was trying to present it, but he gets the ball down, and Holly Davidson quick, a little confirmation with her AR, and the first score of the game was Marcus Holden's.
A good teamwork between the officials there. You want to be 100% sure, but you can see there both Johnny Penningham and Dunks McClement have done a good job supporting Holly Davidson. But Edinburgh went up the other end, and they were to take advantage of a little gap, and this was quick thinking in the end by Wallace Nelson. Again, the Glasgow defence were up very, very quickly, and was well taken in by Aidan Cross. But again, Carl Main, he's almost everywhere, and just watch 7. He knows that there's no defence. Sinclair just a little bit late across, and he saw the gap and took it.
Yeah, I think both tries are instances of space on a rugby field, and at this level it's difficult to try and get that space. The first space was worked for, so Glasgow worked hard to create that space. This time the space was created for Edinburgh by Glasgow, because the defence just didn't get into the guard position, and really that's only 2 times you're going to get space. Either you create it or it's given to you, and both tries are instances of that.
Great take by McNamara, and Glasgow with a rolling maul, and Jerry Blythe Laverty. It's a really good season with Burramure, an 18-year-old. They tried to hold him up. It was excellent effort from Harrison Courtney, but he spun round and found the line.
Yeah, we've seen in the first try for Glasgow, their maul works well. They almost had another try earlier on in the first half from that said maul. It just twisted the wrong way for them, but on this occasion managed just to sneak and walk over the line, and Linus just couldn't put enough pressure on Lafferty just in the final inches as he bundled down and got the score.
And this was a terrific response from Edinburgh. This was the result. Some great play, but look at the little chip kick there, cushioned perfectly by Rory Brand, and there's the step and the take into the bread basket by Billy Warrett.
Yeah, Brand has grown in quality since the first game in a Watsonians jersey, now obviously in an Edinburgh one, but I think his impact, his abrasiveness behind the scrum is really, really important to the teams. He's almost like an extra back row, because he's got that strength and he's got that pace and the power, and that is one of the standout tries from the first half. Billy Warrett just hugging the touchline and diving over for a score.
Half-time scoreline: Glasgow 10, Edinburgh 14. The whole second half still ahead. We've had some tasty rugby, plenty more morsels to be served up, I'm sure. Last weekend, Watsonians Rugby hosted Stirling County at Meggetland, with both teams still in the running to be crowned the Fosroc Super 6 Sprint Series champions. Watsonians needed just 1 point, Stirling County needed all 5, and to stop Watsonians picking anything up. Here's the best of the action.
Gathered just on the edge of the 22 there. You could see Logan Trotter's intent, trying to use the strength of the wind. His opposite number, Patterson, doing well. Fine offload then towards Curry. Curry in turn finds McPherson, and McPherson now goes for the corner. McPherson could well open the scoring. That's a marvellous score. Loman McPherson brings much of the crowd inside Meggetland to its feet. A fine piece of play. Logan Trotter's kick downfield, Chris, you could see the intent. He was trying to aim it for that 22 corner, but how about that for a return with interest from Watsonians? The conversion attempt then, as there's almost silence around Meggetland, and from the touchline, Chris, you'll applaud the efforts there of Lee Miller. That was a fine kick. Real solid defensive work coming in there from Watsonians, led there by Joe Reynolds, who was high off the line, but suddenly a break is on here now for Stirling and Ennis, but the offload towards Kennedy. Kennedy's been very alert in this first half, and with 28 and a half minutes gone, the Stirling supporters showing their appreciation and their delight to Sean Kennedy, who's over for a try. Marcus Holden with that short run up. converts, levels the game. 7 points all. Taken on again by Cal Davis. Davis then. See the ball under that right arm. Brand once more. Well, it was dislodged, the penalty, as Holly Davidson had spotted the infringement there as Davis was trying to play it back towards Brand, and coming through there was Benedict Grant. Miller, no problems at all. Those posts were swaying quite vigorously during the course of the first half. James Poe winning the ball in the line out. Stirling got a bit of a drive on here, trailing by 3 points, looking to hit back almost straight away. Ball is back then with Fraser. Kennedy forcing him forward. Fraser continuing the forward momentum. They're getting up towards the line now. Can they get a clean grounding? The referee now has raised the arm, will step back. And what a response from Stirling County, going to the corner with the throw-in and then very direct with that maul. And it's a fine piece of play there from the Stirling skipper to convert the try. Stirling now sensing an opportunity to get another try on the board. Holden then out towards the fullback, and the winger in prime place to finish things off. Stevie Hamilton with the score. Trotter and Hamilton just peeled away from the main attack, making it a fairly straightforward and easy option in the end for Marcus Holden. Spinning round. Has he given it enough? He has, you know. That's an excellent kick. Davis with the throw. Watsonians win it towards the middle of the line. Davis joins in the drive. He'll get the ball back under that right arm. But like Fraser scored when the sides met earlier in the season. And again hovering 5 metres from the line as Watsonians look to continue a pile drive towards the Stirling line. The Stirling defence have been very solid. Is it beginning to creak at the moment? The referee raising the arm, and it is that man again. The skipper, or vice-captain I should say, Cal Davis, who gets himself back to his feet. So both hookers, like they did on the 16th of April, are on the score sheet. The very tops of the posts swaying just ever so slightly. That looks a kick that's straight and true, and is. That's a further 7 points for Watsonians. Watsonians just can't produce the jackal there to close him off, and there's the interception, and it could be Baggett, who scored the penalty when they first met in April. He's going underneath the post to win the game this evening and to win the Sprint Series Championship, and history in many respects has repeated itself as it's Baggett who delivers the final lines of the script underneath the post, an interception try. Well, it was 26-24 when the sides met in April, 24-21 this time, and it's Watsonians who are overall champions in the series. They were made to work extremely hard though.
Great to watch, and congratulations once more to Watsonians. Went right to the very death, but you can see the joy of Jason Baggett running through and scoring that final score.
Yeah, and I think that was a great example of what the Sprint Series was all about. Everything was close to the wire. There wasn't a lot of one-sided fixtures. I think obviously out of all the teams, I think the Knights will probably be the most disappointed, but they've got a chance to try and right a few wrongs in the Super 6 campaign. But that, an interception try, last play underneath the posts to win the Sprint Series for Watsonians was a fitting end for the club.
We've been joined by both teams on the surface, which is a pretty decent one. The ground staff have worked hard this time of year. Marcus Holden, Stirling County player, 32-year-old.
Good to go? Okay.
10 appearances
Edinburgh ready?
for the New Zealander at Super 6 level for Stirling County, and he gets us underway. It's going to be close to going 10. It just goes 10, and taken well by Rory Jackson. Swan gets it out. Little chip kick through by Gray. Oh, it's an awkward one for Baggett. Baggett's going to have to try and get his hands on that. The ball's thrown out through the goal area. That was a hectic start to the second 40.
Yeah, I was hoping for a more settled start from both sides, but it was expertly plucked out of the air from the restart. It was Rory Jackson who managed to just get the ball from the restart and set up the platform for Glasgow, using that blind side well as well, kicking down, trying to put Edinburgh under a bit of pressure in that bouncing ball, almost catching Baggett out. And he tried the offload, tried to get the ball alive and clear the lines, but he's invited a little bit more pressure, and that's good work from Glasgow.
So the first scrum of the second half. Mark McGinley replacing A.B. McWilliam.
Set.
Only change in the front row so far. That's spun round. The ball is available. Well, the referee says it's now gone too far. And the put in stays with Glasgow.
I think both teams have been really good. I think after the initial conversation that Holly's had with the front rows, I think both teams have gelled in the forwards, and the scrums have been competitive. But you know, no team really has the upper hand in the tight eight. So it's been well managed by Holly, and it's been competitive as well from both sides.
So scrum comes together again. Courtney, Linus and McGinley for Edinburgh. Leeds, Blythe Lafferty and Scott for Glasgow.
Bind. Set.
Swan takes very close to Holden, right behind the scrum. Picked up by Grant, taken down by Van Niekerk. Taters to go in to try and protect the ball. It's available on the Glasgow side. Holden on the inside. That's Scott driving forward. Holden will allow Brand to take that. Again, Edinburgh get the scramble defence. They thought they'd counter-rucked it. They haven't done so. So Linus tried to halt here. Glasgow are close. Swan comes through the hands back onto Rory Jackson. Jackson thought he was close. Swan again. Holden tried to drop the shoulder and go. Coetzee with a tackle. Again, the little snipe. Trying to go around the corner with Swan and in. Well, it's good play. The little snipe round the side. He gets helped up by his teammates. And Glasgow are ahead.
It was patient from Glasgow. They managed to protect the ball. It's probably something we've not seen a lot of it in the first half. They were, they had a lot of errors, a lot of handling errors, and they were patient. They were using the big runners as well, the likes of Jackson, bringing Grant into the game, and the defence just getting caught a bit cold there. Main just not able to get across quick enough. But what a finish there from Swan, who, as he's rolled over, he's been able to get the ball onto his shoulder and put enough pressure against the grain essentially and get the ball down. And it's a bright start from, that comes back to plucking the ball out of the sky from Jackson from the kickoff.
Marcus Holden. It's for successful kick of the afternoon. And Glasgow 4 points down at the break. 3 points to the good with 44 minutes gone in the game.
Yeah, and going back to that point, I think it was a great finish from Swan, but it can never be underestimated. Tries always come from something else that's happened, and I think that the high-hanging restart is exactly where that's happened. It put a lot of pressure on Edinburgh, and they weren't able to cope since that restart.
It's a great take by Rory Jackson once more. Grant calling for it. Grant gets it. Runs into Martin McGinley.
Take him back.
On to Holden.
Good now.
Baggett takes immediately. Gets the cry of a little bit of time.
50-22.
From the 50-22, just bounces outside the 22, moves the wrong way. Elias Caven, not seen him in an attacking sense too often. He makes the hard yards. McNamara, Holden, Grant. This is good play. Trotter into the line. Now out wide. There's a chance for Tate. He's got twinkling toes. He's going through. It's a good take and a good offload. Swan was there. Back inside onto Gray. Gray tries to get it onto Trotter. That is terrific rugby from Glasgow.
I don't think you'll see a better try. You'll struggle to see a better try than that this season, because it was great work from the kick back from Baggett. and then eventually Glasgow just they go across, they spread the pitch. They don't do anything startling and anything spectacular, but they get the ball through the hands. They get the ball to an area where there is space, and then the footwork from Tate. The footwork from Tate is when they put the foot down. That's when they put an injection into it. He puts the foot down, he gets in behind the defensive line, and then it's just a matter of offloading after that. There you can see here, getting the ball through the hands. Trotter there, getting the ball, eventually it finds Tate. He bounces back inside, he catches out Baggett and Nelson, he pins the lugs back, and then it's the offloading after that. Swan in support, and eventually Sinclair getting the ball, Trotter getting the ball in his hands. Great support and play from all the players there from Glasgow, and you know, from when it looks like there's absolutely no danger on, Glasgow go the length, and that's an excellent try.
And from an Edinburgh perspective, they've barely had the ball in their hands 6 minutes into this second 40, and they've conceded 14 points.
Yeah, from nothing of their own fault really. There's maybe for the first try there was, but the second try, that's basic rugby. That is a team putting another team under a lot of pressure and individual skill.
Baggett, good set. Linus battling for it, did well. Brand gets it on the inside, and Naker is held up. There's a spring in the step of Glasgow. Here's Baggett, that's the difficult one. Godsmart tries to get his hands on it. Little jink. And our Southern Knights now with Heriots. This is good response from Edinburgh. Sinclair now on the challenge of Van Niekerk. And Edinburgh sealed off. And the penalty will come the way of Glasgow, which is taken very, very quickly indeed. Greg Canny is now on. Here's the box on the inside to Beattie. Beattie tries to get it across, flick back. There was a knock on just in there. It's fast and furious, and it's fun.
Yeah, and Jamie Drummond and Stevie Hamilton are also on for Glasgow. And I think this is what we want to see. I think Glasgow perhaps on paper they look really, really strong, but they failed to really hit their straps in the first half. They've came out in the second half with real intent, and the accuracy has been very impressive. It showed in the last score we just seen. So this second half, Edinburgh need to step up to try and match the intensity that Glasgow are showing.
Yeah, Lee McNamara 22 for Glasgow.
Oh, so ready to go as well. Get arrested.
Scrum coming together.
Okay,
see the play calling.
Here we go.
Bobby Beattie just having a little word with Aaron Tate. There's teammates with the Ayrshire Bulls here. So now Jamie Drummond in that front row.
Bind. Set.
Land. And it's a mess from Edinburgh. And a penalty. Trying to go quickly, there was Adam Sinclair. Thinks better of it. A little bit of Michael Linus having a little go here. And the players just slow to separate. Edinburgh will be feeling slightly hard done by the way they've lost a couple of tries.
Yeah, I think they'll feel hard done by, but I think they'll feel under pressure. I think Glasgow came out with intent, and you know, maybe the first try could have been avoided, it could have been defended better, but the second try, I genuinely don't think they could have done anything more. Their scramble defence wasn't good enough when Aaron Tate got in behind the line, so they'll be disappointed at their application. But Glasgow are a different beast, but it's not an accurate kick there, and Edinburgh will get a little relief just now.
It has gone straight out.
22 or scrum? 22 or scrum?
Just see the power in the
22.
Glasgow scrum.
Yeah. He's right on the corner, he's got a good view. Okay, 22.
Oh, mistake from the kick. Failing to land it on the right side of the end goal area. Edinburgh preparing to bring on Greg Canny. Gregor Nelson as well. Scott McGinley's the third. It's good counter play from Glasgow. Swan through Holden.
Okay, I'm fine with it.
Picked up well by Jackson. Round the corner it comes. Trotter's in the line. Off to Tate, who's such a danger. Tries the clip kick through. It was well taken by Brand. And then Tate with a wipe-out tackle. Over the scrum half. Just getting caught in.
Yeah, come in.
No off.
Leave it.
He took through on Grant. He's not letting him go. To number 8. And that is hooked out of play by Jason Baggett. Great smiles between the two number 8s as they get moved away. And Carl Main obviously realised what a tricky player Bennett Grant is and just held onto his legs.
Yeah, I think that's going to be, it's an interesting battle between the two number 8s, and it's going to be even more interesting when the Super 6 campaign kicks off
On the shoulder.
later on this year. And it just shows that the physicality between these two teams and the competitive nature between them as well. And I think Michael Linus is perhaps talking to Holly Davidson about the challenge on Rory Brand. He's now going off the field of play, but Holly Davidson was in a very good position when Tate went in with the challenge and said it was on the shoulder. I don't know, Brand is staying on, he's just taking up his position at the front of the line out. But it was a great positioning from the referee to see that, because that's a huge talking point in rugby at the moment.
So lots of changes being made. Bruce McNamara has come off for Glasgow, so too is George Braze.
First player.
Rolling substitutes in this fixture, so we may well see them again.
And away, white. One side. Okay, 9, use it. No, he's through the middle.
Gets the clearing kick. And it did stay in, and that knocked off Aaron Tate.
First by, and then by white.
The knock on, and the referee will give the scrum down to Glasgow. Just came off the hands of Joe Jenkins first. Yeah,
it's just scruffy off the boot from Brand, and Jenkins tried to make the best out of a bad situation, but Dunks McLennan, the assistant referee on this side, was communicating quickly with Holly Davidson to say that it was knocked off Jenkins. So again, the pressure continues to pile on this Edinburgh team as Glasgow turn the screw, because they've been camped inside this Edinburgh half for pretty much the whole 12 minutes of this second half.
Tristan Andrews, Liam McNamara, Stevie Hamilton, Jamie Drummond, Callum Smith, all off the bench for Glasgow. Mark McGinley, Scott McGinley, Gregor Nelson, Greg Canny off the bench thus far for Edinburgh. Swan trying to get in there and get the ball. Plays it back onto Tate. Tate onto Holden. Holden gets it on the inside. Through McNamara. McNamara onto Trotter. Trotter out wide. Little jink on that far side. Trying to pull it in there with Stevie Hamilton. It's Grant with the offload. That was a tough one for Drummond to try and take. Coughed up the ball. It's going to be a scrum down. And they're certainly trying to move the ball about. Cammy Fenton coming off the bench, so too Jed Gelder-Bloom.
Okay, blue 9 and 2.
And I've got all their replacements on for now.
I think perhaps the change between Gelder-Bloom and Brand is probably quite a good one for Edinburgh. I think Brand he's a good scrum half, but he does like to mix it with the forwards as well. And I think Gelder-Bloom plays at a little bit more of a higher tempo. And I think that's probably what Edinburgh need just now. They need to try and test this Glasgow side, move them about the field a bit, try and tire them out, because these replacements that Glasgow brought on have made an impact. So perhaps Gelder-Bloom is going to be the man to bring Edinburgh back into this game. So the changes being made. Linus coming off alongside Brand. Kutzer was the vice captain, so he should presume the captaincy. Gelder-Bloom. That's it. Oh, there's a little gap there, and they've played it through. That's just come in behind Greg Canny. Glasgow have ripped it, but the referee says that it was held and the ball was put forward, so it's going to be a scrum down. Again, when a team's under pressure, they steal that half yard, they steal that extra yard, and in attack, and you can see that from Edinburgh now under just a little bit more pressure than they were in the first half. and these little moves that they're trying deep inside their own half, you feel they would have came off in the first half with the confidence they had, but now they just feel they've got to force it a little, and you can see them creeping slightly, and there Canny and Baggett just getting mixed up in midfield, ball drifting forward, and Glasgow were well, Hawley brought it back for the knock on, but they could have taken advantage of that yet again.
Bind.
So the Edinburgh pack having to settle here. All the action's been inside that Edinburgh area. Glasgow went too early, just pushed in.
Instability. No.
That's a cheap one to give away, especially when you're on the front foot.
Yeah, I think they'll be disappointed with the fact that they've conceded that free kick there when they've got the pressure on, because you want to try and turn the screw slightly. You know, it has been 15 minutes of being camped inside this 22 pretty much, and they've given Edinburgh the chance to just clear their lines, and Baggett's made a decent touch, and what it looks like a strong wind over, you know, in the field of play. We're kind of sheltered in the stand, but it certainly looks like it's blustered out there as the trees are fluttering about over on the far side.
And 9.
Beautiful. You can feel the warmth of the sun.
Okay.
As changes being made. Rory Swan is coming off.
White.
Hugh McCarra comes on. Adam Sinclair is withdrawn. And it's Jack Fisher with the black scrum cap who will come on.
Okay, hold that gap.
Fisher from the Bottomure Bears. So most of the bench, not all, has been used. Well taken in by Jackson. Jackson through the hands of McCarra. Out where it goes. There's the little offload behind and Tate, and there's the upending, and that was Wara. Now there is a fight on the far side. Billy Wara is being held. He's been taken to the ground. Tate goes in there as well. Both sets of forwards are going in, and there's a real flashpoint here. You can see Cammy Fenton trying to pull a man out, and there is two coming together. It was the slam to the ground, and there's a big call coming for Holly Davidson. Trying to get things pulled apart.
7 and 14
We're on the near side, the stand side. It's on the opposite side. It didn't look good from our positioning. The coming together. Aaron Tate gets bounced back up, and Holly Davidson. Well, they're still continuing. Billy Wara, and he's being confronted by Connor Gordon. And here it comes. The ball comes out wide.
Nah.
There's the tackle. It's coming up. There's a good play from Glasgow to get the ball wide. Then came across, and Billy Wara was up. Of course, the ball was away, and it's the lift.
He's just not controlled them. I think, you know, in the tackle, he's lifted him above the horizontal, not controlled them whatsoever. And I think it's 10 minutes for both Gordon and Wara. And I've seen that from Billy Wara, that a little bit of ill discipline. He got yellow carded at the Green Yards against Ayrshire Bulls for a similar kind of, you know, dangerous challenge, and it's ugly to see, and that's why the law's in place. It was yellow cards for the both of them for their involvement in the tackle in the aftermath.
I have to say, the thing I wasn't expecting this afternoon was yellow cards, but I mean, Billy Wara's one very much merited. You could argue he's a lucky boy still to be taking part in the game, but you could see Connor Gordon, who's the Glasgow captain, he reacted very angrily indeed, and the referee can't allow that either.
No, I think that was a great decision there from Holly to not only penalise the actual physical action from Billy Wara, but also the ill discipline from the Glasgow captain Gordon. And the thing I didn't expect was the Rocky music to be played behind me, so it certainly boiled over quickly. But the good thing from that, it is again a bit of bravado. There's no punches thrown. It's all just a matter of maybe just stepping too close to going over that line of ill discipline, and the referees acted quickly.
Jason Baggett pops the ball into the trees on that far side.
That's going to be you. Boys, just take a step. Thanks, guys.
And the opportunity to get the ball in. It's not been dull, that's for sure.
It's certainly had talking points, and in a game where there's opportunities, there's going to be a little bit more space in this field now.
Clancy trying to come forward. Grant has been terrific. Elder Bloom at the base. There's the little snipe, gets the pass away. It's for Baggett. Baggett
keep that mark.
Tries the skimming kick. That will run through. And that is to Glasgow's advantage.
I don't think your forwards want another scrum though.
The chance to bring it all the way back.
I think the option there was right from Baggett, but they're almost doing what Glasgow were doing in the first half. I think their execution's just a little bit off at the moment, and that comes with the pressure that, as we said, the team have been under. They've been under the pressure, which is making them force it, try and sail too close to the cliff face. And you think Baggett perhaps he was just trying to bite a bit too much out of that, because it would have given them really good territory up towards this Glasgow line. And most of the tries have happened from other teams' mistakes, bar that last absolute beauty of a try from Glasgow. Most of it has been the other team making some sort of error to allow the space. But you can see Billy Wara now watching on the sidelines, and he's not going to be able to help this Edinburgh team for the next 7.5 minutes.
Crouch.
Yeah, we've seen the good and the bad of Billy Wara on the score sheet. Also to Connor Gordon.
Set.
Had to take an enforced breather. Edinburgh have turned on. That's a good scrum from Edinburgh, and that's a penalty against Glasgow. A chance for Jason Baggett. Edinburgh, I'm not sure, have been inside the Glasgow 22 in this second half. We've played 20 minutes.
Yeah, I think that tackle from Billy Wara was the first time they'd actually encroached on this Glasgow half. And from that poor kick from Baggett before, he's probably taken a little bit of heat off it there, as you can see. It's probably worked out well for Edinburgh. Accidentally, they get the ball back, they get the penalty, they now get the throw into the line out, so they can try and exert a little bit of pressure onto Glasgow, because for the last 20 minutes it has certainly been all Glasgow.
So Cammy Fenton, and there's now the man on throwing duties. The McGinley brothers at the back, taken out well.
Yeah, he's through the middle.
Glasgow trying to come through. 17 is Fenton at the back. Gelderblom wearing 21. They're still trying to keep it in there. Gelderblom gets things moving. Now Goldsmart will score. Great response from Edinburgh, quickly through the hands. Now Goldsmart, well, you give him a chance. He's got the pace, and he goes searing his way through.
Yeah, good play of first phase ball, and it's something we've actually seen quite a lot of in the Super 6 Sprint Series, is teams trying to strike off that first set piece, but just there getting the ball in a wide enough channel that it can test. And again, Coetzee has been brilliant in this game, and he's just wrong foots a couple of defenders and allows that space for Goldsmart, who's been quiet in this game. He's not been allowed to play, or he's not been given the space. The space has been created for him by Coetzee there, because he's just danced inside, taking the defence a little bit tighter, getting the offload, and Goldsmart just on the shoulder gets to waltz in for a score.
Jason Baggett trying to make this a 3-point encounter. There's 17 minutes to go. And simply through it goes. Well, it's swung from one way to the other, and Edinburgh narrow it. They led at the break. They trailed by 3, but it was a score they desperately needed.
It definitely was, and I think that's the thing about this level of rugby, is the fact that a team can look down and out in a game, and all of a sudden one score and they're straight back into it. And that's exactly what Edinburgh done. It came at the right time with the right personnel at the right period of the game, and they'll be hoping to try and build on this now and get back down into the Glasgow half, and it'll give them a bit of positivity.
Good take by Van Nieken. Got him forward.
Boys back.
Gelderblom. It's well worked by Mark McGinley. Ball is back on the Edinburgh side.
K9, use it.
Some great work by Tristan Andrews, trying to find his way over the top. The clearing kick. Trotter is interested in it, but couldn't take it. Jenkins, that went backwards. Nice touch up into the hands of Harrison Courtney. Grant in there again, and to take down Canny. Goldsmart taking the scenic route. That's brilliantly done, and now it's out wide. Here's McGinley again, the prop just got caught. Good counter rucking from Glasgow, but it'll come all the way back to Gelderblom. Grant makes the charge. It was just held by Baggett. Well, just touched it forward according to referee Holly Davidson. It was a good take initially by Cammy Fenton, but the pass back to 10 didn't quite work. Calvin Henderson is about to come on to see some action, but it was just a knock on.
Yeah, good work from Harrison Courtney, who managed to keep the ball alive and get the ball through the hands. He looked like he'd been wrapped up into trouble. He managed to free his arms, and that's pure coaching. That is awareness of your opposition. He's got the ball in two hands, looks to go back inside, and he frees his arms straight away so he can get that offload. Great work from the prop, but eventually when it did break down, Baggett just couldn't control that ball to keep the pressure going, because it's the last 5 minutes has been really positive for Edinburgh.
It's another day at the office for Michael Scott. Off he comes. That's still too niche a joke, Michael Scott being the character in the American version of The Office. There's Edinburgh again. That's the second time in Rodale they've got the push on in the scrum, and Glasgow have been unable to keep them at bay. Yeah,
I think the Edinburgh pack are looking to turn the screw a little bit. I don't know whether the loss of Conor Gordon's going to be a huge thing at the scrum, but it's obviously there's a little upper hand there from Edinburgh, and they've been able to benefit from a couple of good set pieces there, and Baggett will be looking to try and take advantage of that, fine touch, and look to build a little bit of momentum in this game, as they're only 3 points behind, but we know what these games are like. They can ebb and flow and go either way, and Edinburgh need to take their opportunities.
7 tries so far, 153 tries in 21 Sprint Series games, just over the average of 7 per game. We've hit 7 for this one.
Play on.
Watches on. He would have been pleased with the way that was plucked out the air. It's nicely done. And Edinburgh on the attack once more.
Play on.
Hasty again. On the call, being held up by Jack Fisher. Harrison Courtney just trying to give some space for Gelderbloom. Back into Baggett. It's a good take by Fenton. Bloom again. Here's Baggett. Not a lot of space. He might try and take that himself. A good counter. It's a terrific clear out as well. It was excellent play by Edinburgh's 22, Greg Canny. It's the unsexy side of the game, but it's so much needed. Courtesy will pull the ball back onto Baggett. Baggett with a step off. Lifts it out well. Chance to get things moving through Nelson.
No, not on. White, let it come.
Courtney. Loves a little rumble up the middle. Back onto Baggett. It's Fenton. Gets some support from Hasty.
Off feet. Let him go.
That's it. Is there. Comes out to Baggett. Baggett's trying the little chip kick through just to keep the pressure on. Taking advantage of the space presented. That's good play.
Yeah, I think that's very good play from Baggett there. Good game management to know that they've tried to knock at the door, they're not getting an answer, and he just nudged it in behind to keep the pressure up here, as opposed to conceding a penalty or a free kick, or just losing the ball from an unforced error. He's just opted just to pin it in behind, keep the pressure on Glasgow, and try and get territorial advantage.
The throw will come. Oh, it was very flat, and it wasn't straight.
Dummy throw.
Fair point, absolutely. And the referee's given a count. Fenton butchers the tap, and then it gets sent through. And the Edinburgh bench are just to our left, head in hands, as Glasgow are off to the races. Liam McNamara taken down. And McNamara on his home turf. It's good adventurous play from Glasgow, trying to run it out from there. There's a difference still between, just being too unstructured, as the penalty will come, and there is the problem from Glasgow. They tried to be bold, and in the end they've conceded.
Yeah, and I think that goes back to Fenton as well. I think trying to take that real quick penalty, it didn't come off well for him at all. Just after the maturity came into the game from Edinburgh, from Baggett, you kind of seen both sides of it. It's not worked being adventurous for Glasgow on this occasion. They've then invited some pressure when they could have cleared their lines. They've got the advantage here, and they almost played like they were chasing the game. It is representative rugby, but there's a time for game management and trying to train yourself to make the right choices at the right time in a game. And 12 minutes to go, that was probably the time to kick it downfield. Use the wind, which is going from left to right here, to use that wind and try and get downfield.
Billy Warner has rejoined us, so too has Conor Gordon. So back to 15-a-side rugby. That's over the top, went past Van Niekerk. It's good rumbling his way through. It's Jamie Drummond. The Ayrshire Bull. Edinburgh going to be on the back foot here. Andrews launches the kick. It's an awkward one, taken well by Canny. Looks to see what his options are. He's going to try and run through Jack Fisher. Jack Fisher, I'm not convinced, rolled right out the way. It was popped up. It was an awkward one for Gregor Nelson.
Take a step, take a step.
Not sure it's one he particularly wanted. Hasty gets it on the inside onto Fenton. The Heriots connection. Good dragging down by Callum Smith. Glasgow have it back on their side. The pass was knocked on, and Edinburgh will get the put in at the scrum. It's a bit helter-skelter at the moment.
It is, and after Tristan Andrews tried to kick downfield, we've had a second row with a cross-field kick, we've had a prop sprint down the wing, so I'm just wondering what's going to be next. But I think it's evenly poised. We've got 10 minutes left in this game, there's 3 points in it. You know, both teams want to attack and throw caution into the wind, so you know, it's not like we're playing for league points. It's bragging rights. It's going to be the Glasgow or Edinburgh that win this game, and you know, there's going to be opportunities in the last 10 minutes for one of these players or some of these players to put their hand up and try and grab the game by the scruff of the neck.
Yeah, on another day in a different circumstance of the game, Jason Baggett would have gone for the post, tied things up at 24, but that's not the point of this. Both teams want to win. The Bloom gets ready to pop this in. 19-year-old, just one start, came off the bench 8 times this season for the Bears. It's out to Godsmark. Godsmark onto Warnock. Warnock doesn't hold on to it, and here's the chance for Beattie. Tries to throw it inside. That looked forwards, and the referee spotted that as well.
Yes.
Again, just the willingness to get the ball through hand does lead to error.
Yeah, an opportunity there again. Wara just trying to find his feet back in this game after spending 10 minutes in the sin bin. The ball bobbling about there. Almost an opportunity for Glasgow, but again the scrambled defence from Edinburgh coming in pretty well and just forcing that, you know, that forced pass over the shoulder. It does drift forward and allows Edinburgh a little bit of a breather.
It'll be interesting, Dale, to speak to the players after the game, see what they've made of this contest, the chance to play in this pro-alignment fixture, and just, you know, a chance to play again representative rugby, see what they've made of it.
I think so. You know, being a spectator myself, I've got a huge appetite for representative rugby, and I think it's got a place in Scottish rugby, and it's great to see here. And I think it's something that needs to start somewhere. And you know, I think they'll relish in it. You know, these guys love playing rugby, and they want a career at it. And I think this is another step up and another chance to put themselves in the shop window.
Gallagher gets there, Coetzee pulls it out wide. Here's the chance, can he? Gets it out, can Jenkins get the acceleration away? He was well taken down by Liam McNamara. Gillibloom again, back on the inside. Van Niekerk gets the ball across, smuggled him beautifully onto Josh King. But Edinburgh have come off their feet. The penalty will go against them.
First action, straight down.
Some work coming up for the man to my left hand side. He's going to have to pick the player of the match. And there's several candidates in my book, but it'll be Dale's call. This game finally poised. 3 points in it. 7 of the games in the sprint series went down to 3 points or less, so a third of them. 9 games decided by 7 points or less. Take by Rory Jackson. We'll try to repel Glasgow. That's the second call. Come forward. Holding on. And Makara 21, waiting to see if it's going to come his way. There's Jamie Drummond leading the charge. Glasgow come again. Jackson gets a little bit of help, pushed on by Smith. 19 is Jack Fisher. This could clinch it for Glasgow if they can find a way over the line. Holden, this could be an interception. Jenkins gets on the end of it, tries to lay the ball off. That's a terrific take by Wallace Nelson. Well, Glasgow were close and Edinburgh have held on, not releasing. And the penalty will come. The shout of tap and go. Holden gets the ball across. Fisher. Glasgow going for the win. Edinburgh thought they saw daylight. Holden gets it out. Little bounce kick through. It's going to be taken on that far side. It was excellent job from Beattie.
First player.
Edinburgh right on the back foot here. And Godsmark working hard. That's terrific work from Edinburgh to turn it over.
Not now, 20.
What a contest.
20, back you go.
Toe to toe. Now this will come back and bag it. Well, he's clipped a few kicks away on the just off the side of the boot, which I know will disappoint him. And there he was looking for distance and didn't get it.
Yeah, I think you get that quite a lot, and you know, especially into that wind, you can't see it now as the replay's coming in from that great take from Stevie Hamilton from that kick from Bobby Beattie. Great scramble defence from Billy Wara, but it's difficult as a 10 in the defensive position to be kicking downfield with the wind hurling at you. And now Glasgow, an accurate line out from 5 metres out, but it's got scrappy.
It's very, very scrappy in there at the moment. And Edinburgh lead the charge. It's again terrific work, Josh King. A grisly performance from him. Godsmark looks to see if there's an option to go, gets it out wide. Jenkins has to take it at the top of the arc. In fact, Canny. Jenkins was the man inside. Edinburgh do get the ball away. Hasty held by Grant. Well, all the players calling for it, and again Edinburgh not releasing and once more penalised. Edinburgh just can't find their way out.
Yeah, I think in the second half defensively Glasgow have probably been better than Edinburgh. I think in the first half Edinburgh were well drilled, but in the second half Glasgow managed to spread the park really, really well. And you can see there when the overlaps there, Godsmark slowed the play down and tried to work the space, couldn't really get it, but I managed to put Canny in some space, but Glasgow filtered across so quickly and cut that out.
As the line out comes together, the player of the match is going to take his place in the line out.
Yeah, definitely the player of the match, Rory Jackson, the second row. He was instrumental at the start of the second half as well. I know it says Bobby Beattie there, but it is Rory Jackson, the second row. He was instrumental from the top of that line out to create the first try. But
Cotsier's away. Cotsier, look to see who's on his shoulder. It's Jason Baggett. Jason Baggett is going for the line. He sealed the Super 6 in style. Has he got across the line here? He has. What a try from inside their own half, from one end to the other. Sensational rugby from Edinburgh, and it's another long sprint for Jason Baggett.
Yeah, it's not the first time in my commentary career that I picked man of the match, and the person who was my second choice is sprung up because Coetzee has been brilliant in the first half. Second half, he came in, he's introduced himself yet again, and Baggett again showing great pace, great supporting lines as well. It can't be understated that you need to be there in the first place to win the foot race, and a great finish as well. But it's Coetzee who managed to break free, bounce back inside and create that space, and you know, from a great position from Glasgow, just in front, down deep inside the Edinburgh half. Edinburgh break free, go the length and get the score.
Well, Jason Baggett will just milk the clock on this one as well. Steadies himself. He's kicked well from the tee. He's had one or two go off the side of the boot. That will have disappointed him, but he was the man who clinched things. And the Super 6 for Watsonians he clinched the victory for Edinburgh here today. It's a low kick, and across the post it goes. Well, after 46 minutes, Glasgow, who trailed at the break by 4 points, got two back-to-back tries which were converted. They look set to win this. Credit to Edinburgh for the fight back, and credit too to Bern Cairns, the coach of Glasgow, and Fergus Pringle, the coach of Edinburgh, for setting these teams up for such an encounter.
Take him back.
And Nakirk, the clearance gets knocked out of play. The clock that you can see on our screen is an estimation of the time. The official timekeeper, I think, may well be
5.
about a minute behind of us. So There's the line out, taken by the player of the match, Rory Jackson. This one is not finished yet. Glasgow looking to reply. 8 tries in the match, 4 apiece. Beattie onto Holden. Holden gets it through McNamara. Trotter might have to leave that, he does so. And Edinburgh up very, very quickly on the counter. Josh Kenny again with some great work. Here's Grant trying to lead the challenge, taken down by Fenton. What a finish. Little scenic route run by McCarra. Trying to break through. Trotter once more. Ball pulled back and it comes on to Jack Fisher.
No hands now, Blue, let it come.
Both teams scrapping at this. Big calls for the referee to come. Tristan Andrews comes through. Edinburgh will need to cover. Holden might try and launch this. On his knees was McGinley. Scott McGinley just couldn't bring him down.
No, because he's there.
Shouts from both camps that players are coming in from the side. There's Callum Smith, the prop forward. Trotter. That was dropped. It was dropped by Liam McNamara. And the knock on. And Edinburgh don't need to be in a hurry here.
Yeah, and it's something we said how well Glasgow have performed in defence in this in the second half. He performed really well in defence. They've held the line, but here when it matters, Edinburgh are really dynamic in the defence. They're coming off the line quickly. They're staying tight. You can hear the screams in the stand of Fergus Pringle telling them to mind the gap and remember the position between you and your teammate. And at the end of this game, 2 points in it, Edinburgh are going to have to defend if they want to win.
Great contest. Super 6 Pro-Alignment Fixture here at Millbrae. Beautiful sunny afternoon, a little bit of a breeze whipping around the stadium. Finely poised, 50 points shared.
Set!
Scrum went too early.
No.
And they'll reset. That suits Edinburgh, just takes more time off the clock.
Yeah, definitely. It allows them a little bit of a breather, and any other mistakes that creep into this game are just playing into Edinburgh's hands. It's a dangerous position to be in. I think, you know, a 2-point game, being camped, the team chasing the game are camped inside the opposition's half. So it's pretty much how you would script it if you wanted to see a game end.
Crouch.
So the clock showing 80,
Bind.
both on screen and in stadium.
Set. Hold.
It was Jed Gilder-Bloom who would have checked what was going on in terms of time. Gets the ball through and Jason Baggett turns, kicks it out of play. That the last action of the Pro-Alignment Fixture in the Super 6, and it's victory for Edinburgh, guided there by head coach Fergus Pringle. Watsonians, Jason Baggett, the man with a clinching try, turns and pops it out the back. And a really good contest between Glasgow and Edinburgh sees Edinburgh victorious.
Yeah, it was a great encounter. You know, I think there was that little bit where it was plagued with errors in the first half. It was about 10-15 minutes, but it was competitive. The defensive work from both times, the attacking endeavour was high. But I think overall it's been another example of entertaining rugby at this level, this semi-professional level. It shows what Super 6 can contribute to rugby in Scotland, and both teams, they contributed to an excellent game and left everything on the line. You can see the camaraderie now. I think Grant and Main might actually have some nice confrontation on the pitch as opposed to the physical one that they've had, but it's been a great game. It's been well officiated as well, and I think that's a great example of what this offers.
That's a fair point. Super 6 has had some really good officiating. Holly Davidson talking the players through the game, and 8 tries being shared. It's an end of season moment, but they gave their all for this one. But it is Edinburgh who come out on top. They finished Glasgow 24, Edinburgh with the win on 26. 8 tries in the game. Let's take you through them. First try, 3 minutes gone. Blythe Lafferty, but it was to be. Marcus Holden coming into the picture wearing 10. And somehow when the ball comes back to him, he does really well to get his body over the line.
Yeah, it was a weapon that Glasgow used quite well, was the maul, and you can see there just Holden squirming over. The cavalry does arrive, but they weren't needed to nudge him over the whitewash because they'd worked hard for the territory, they'd worked hard for the space initially in the pack and created it for Holden. He was just going to the blind side and trying to dislodge that defence, and first blood to Glasgow.
The response came from Edinburgh, Wallace Nelson of the Southern Knights. It was good build-up play, Brand putting it inside. Glasgow's defence was there, but if you watch just to the left, it opened up for Wallace Nelson. He had a little stroll through to touchdown. The gap was there and he made the most of it.
Yeah, we said that when we de-dressed it in the first half, was the fact that you get space in a couple of ways. Either you work for it or you're gifted it, and he was gifted it there, and he was aware to just get the ball and walk over the line.
This was just good execution by Glasgow. We'd gone 28 minutes without a score, but Jerry Blythe-Lafferty, the 18-year-old, getting through, managing to get the ball down. It was just classic line-out play. Yeah,
and I think the forwards love this. You know, any rugby purists will probably scoff at this, but it was well executed. It was a tight 8 driving straight. They had the upper hand and were able to just nudge their hooker over the line.
Some good work here by Rory Brand. I mean, that's exceptional. And Billy Warrett laying himself out on the line, and that just gave Edinburgh the lead at the break.
Yeah, Billy Warrett had a very interesting game in terms of the good, the bad and the ugly, and this was certainly the good. He just manages to stretch the width. That's the important thing. He held his line, stretched the width, and managed to get in behind Cavan.
Glasgow came out the traps in the second half brilliantly and really responded well. This was a good try by Swan again. Spots the little gap, went for it. It's not an easy one. You got Carl Main to get past. You know you're going to take the hit, but he went in and under. Yeah,
I think that the line as well from Benedict Grant, you'll see him just coming round there. He actually stretches the defender. Now the Edinburgh back row there, Van Niekerk watches his run and he's fixed on him, so it's a 1-on-1 battle. In the scrum half, Swan manages to get round the outside of Main and just squeeze over for a score.
Well, Glasgow took control, and this was the try of the match from a Glasgow perspective. Brilliantly worked, BT Gray involved, lovely touch out by Connor Gordon, but Aaron Tate's such a live wire. Head up all the time, little offload into Swan, and then the pass across was just brilliant into Logan Trotter. Trotter gets the score in the headlines, but I mean there was so many players involved in that.
Yeah, I think, you know, the run here from Tate, the footwork, he manages just to wrong foot Nelson and Baggett. It's great because he's got a bit of everything. He manages to offload it as well and managed to the interplay, the supporting lines, but it's that offload there out of the underarm, just lofting it the right height, and Trotter does what he does. He's done through the whole sprint. He hugs his shoulder. He just benefits from all the hard work that the others do.
Well, it looked like Glasgow were going to get away, but Edinburgh responded. No cuts here. I mean, he sets up so many opportunities. Ironically, doesn't score a great deal himself, but he was involved in the 2 Edinburgh tries that would have clinched it. Got this ball beautifully away onto Godsmart.
Yeah, I absolutely loved him at 12. I think he was probably unfortunate not to get player of the match himself because of his involvement in the final try, but he was dynamic at 12 and he managed just to pick the holes in the defence.
And here he is, just on cue, and if you're going to get a winning try in a game, takes it all the way up to the halfway line, Baggett on his shoulder, and Baggett just strolling away, Trotter and co trying to get him at the very end, but he managed to get himself over the line. Again, good teamwork between the officials to confirm the score.
That line from Baggett is straight out the green yards. We've seen Richard Mill do it, we've seen Scott White do it. It's the Sevens expertise as well, that they just dictate play from the centre of the field, and you can see his engine. He manages just to run up the straight, the heart of the park on the shoulder of Coates here, and he benefits. He's got the pace to go the distance as well, so that is a lot of experience and a lot of hard work has went into that last try.
Terrific afternoon at Millbrae. 50 points split, 2-point gap between Glasgow and Edinburgh. It's Edinburgh who get the bragging rights in the Super 6 Pro-Alignment Fixture, winning by 26 points to 24. Thanks for watching the coverage this afternoon. A reminder that the Fosroc Super 6 Championship returns on Friday the 5th of August with the Ayrshire Bulls against Heriots live on Free Sports. Thanks to all the team here at Millbrae this afternoon. For Dale Clancy and myself, Paul Mitchell, thanks for watching. Bye for now.
So